Hey, I'm Mike, and this first song is called Waves. Drifts in and out like waves. It waxes and it wanes and crashes to the ground when no one's around. Love bends so easily, it always finds a way. I fall so heavily, cause love never stays. We used to laugh, sitting on the sand, unsure when the nights ended and the days began. You had my heart in the palm of your hand, well gripped, you tripped, I tripped, we could barely stand. Love drifts in and out like waves, it waxes in the waves, it crashes to the ground when no one's around. Love bends so easily, it always finds a way. I fall so heavily, cause love never stays. I've been drowning in where would I go? I mistrust the current who knows where it will carry me to. Your love was a red wine to my lips, deepening a stain you left every time I took a sip. Love drifts in and out like waves, it waxes and it waves, and crashes to the ground when no one's around. Love bends so easily, it always finds a way. I fall so heavily, cause love never stays. Love drifts in and out like waves, it waxes in the waves, and crashes to the ground when no one's around. Love bends so easily, it always finds a way, and I fall so heavily, cause love never stays, 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 love never stays.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been playing most of my life like guitar, not seriously for the most part, but I showed like a sense of rhythm when I was like a young kid,
Hmm.
and my mom supported that, my father supported that. So they found a teacher at one point who was essentially my babysitter because I was pretty stubborn. I was just like playing tic-tac-toe. He was like, it's just like my mom was just like, please just fucking take him, please. And but you know, over time, he trained my ear because I wasn't really like too into like reading music when I was a kid. It just looks like fly shit on paper. Like to me, I just
I
so
feel
we always
like
had a
you children are into
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I'm very like street smart. I've always been that way. Even when I in my later years went to Berklee, you know, I learned how to read and, you know, learned the trades, the trick of the trades. Trades is the trick. I don't know, whatever. And it definitely opened up my eyes and perspective. I met a lot of cool people, and that's a very like quick version. I just
Yeah.
jumped from like 4 years old to college, but there's a lot of in between where like I cut my teeth on like Toad's Play stage in New Haven. And the first time I'd play there, I was like 8 years old, and it was like a crowd of 400, and I played like 3 Beatles songs
Nice.
because at the time I had a trio that we were just going to like middle schools. I mean, we were like 8, 9 years old, 10. Uh, guitarist was 10 years old at the time, and we were just playing Beatles songs like throughout middle schools, touring and stuff. So that was pretty badass. I was like subjectively cooler when I was younger. Like I had like a leather vest on and like I didn't care. I was like, yeah, this is badass. Now I'm all just like, are people listening? And it's like, so it's been an arduous, long, and really really fun road. And yeah, I mean, my whole life's been revolving around music and the type of music. I mean, I'm not really like stuck in any one genre.
Mhm.
And I personally think that like the future of music is going to see an artist who's super eclectic.
Mhm.
And you know, you might get a little tinge of folk, tinge of jazz, tinge of blues, tinge of funk, maybe even thrash metal. Who the fuck knows? I mean, really, it's like whatever. Just allowing people to like fully express themselves. I mean, that's kind of like the give and get with being an independent artist, is like there's no one pulling your strings being like you got to make 17 of the
Yeah.
same track, you know.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so it's like I'm constantly evolving. I just kind of tell people I'm like alternative pop.
Hmm.
I'm not popular, so I'm not really pop, but it's like alternative, but I blend in a lot of those things that like mean a lot to me, that like, you know, I went through so many different phases of my life, and it's like the same as like a color. Like I have so many favorite colors at this point. They never like went away. I never like
Change.
categorized shit. You know, it's just like, oh no, now I like blue and green, and like, oh, now I like purple, blue, and so I think it's like the same with styles. I'm like, you know, when I was a young kid, I grew up on the Beatles, Buddy Holly, Tom Petty, like classic R&B, and then I had like a family values moment where I was just like angsty teen, and then I got heavy into like R&B and like jam band, and then a little bit of jazz, just you know.
Cool.
And if it comes from the heart, I tend to love it. Honestly, like I will listen to it. I'm not too big on opera, but I'll listen to it. Like I'll respect it. I can respect it, but yeah, I just not yet.
You never know. A year from now, you could be on the opera stage. Whoa.
Oh, sole mio. Maybe, maybe, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. You know, it's and the stuff I'm writing for like my next album is like a little bit more like dissonant and distorted, and but still very much me.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, I
know,
feel
that's
like I like what you just or what you said earlier about being an independent musician. I think it is really cool that you just have so much control over what you want to do, and there's nobody telling you you need to make this kind of music, this many songs, make it this way. And yeah, I liked checking out your music on Spotify, and
yep.
you had like I like listening to your more recent like just kind of acoustic album, and then the one before.
Right.
Yeah, just that you're able to kind of do different
Dope.
things, explore different genres. Yeah, I think that's super cool.
Thanks for listening. I mean, you know, it's interesting. Like it is a give and a get, because now that technologies make things easier and more ubiquitous, it is harder to, you know, stand out in some sense. But I think people like get lost in a competition mindset when they never should have been doing that. And
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
just fucking be you, man. Like you are innately unique as your own quadrillion cell atom individual. Like there's no one can recreate you, even if they tried. Like there's always going to be a mock-up of some sort, but it's always you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like especially now with social media these days, it's so easy to, I don't know, just compare like number of followers or listens and all that kind of stuff. And there's just so many people making music, and it's so easy to find other musicians or listen to people's music, which is super cool in a lot of ways. But I think the one rough part about it is it's very easy to compare yourself and kind of.
Well, it's like everything's become homogenized in some sense, because you have like fast music, fast food, fast fashion, and everyone's using those same elements to try to seem unique, which is just fucking impossible. It's like you can't all shop at H&M and then try to like throw out a fashion line where you seem like I'm hip and with it, you know? It's like just it's funny because it's like if everyone focused on their own zip code, their own food and farmers market, and picking up, you know, their own trash or whatever, it's like if you kind of use it as a microcosm experiment, it would help on a national level if everyone focused on a smaller, more intended level. I don't know, sometimes I think about that.
Watching the years slip by, Berklee College, every revolution. If I could hold and change the past, will you be a stranger to me now? We'll rendezvous, dance in the dark, and turn blue, laughing at the bar. Teach you to wherever you are. You are the voodoo, state of the art, babe. If you were light, you'd be a sky from the stars. If you were rain, I'd stick out my tongue and drink you up. If you were a lake, and you I'd swim endlessly. When you hang the moon, there's a shift in gravity. Swim endlessly. When you hang the moon, there's a shift in gravity. If you were rain, I'd stick out my tongue and drink you up. If you were a lake, and you heart swim endlessly. When you hang low, there's a shift in gravity. When you hang low, there's a shift in gravity. Yeah.
Sure. So, well, the first one I played is called Waves, and that I wrote. It's on this album. This guy behind me, and it's like the produced version's very. It's like a bit more ethereal. Like it's got like a atmosphere to it. A lot of digital like foundation. So to transition it to a more acoustic, intimate song that is really dependent on the dynamics of it, because it's the same 3 chords the entire song. So it's supposed to work like water, where it's an odd meter. It's in 7/8 because there's nothing even about the ocean, and I like we use like a lot of like side chaining effect to give this like push and pull in the mix, and the lyrics themselves are about just like loss and just it. I feel like a lot of people don't always explore the fact that love comes and goes. It's just like love people, love that. And it's like I do explore those things, but I'm also in the album trying to show a different, like more susceptible, like vulnerable self, where it's like it's not really that simple. It comes and goes and it never stays. So it's like it's got a darker, less hopeful tinge than some of my other songs, but I think it's a cool song nonetheless. And yeah, it's just I was trying to make it like flow like water. I feel like it's the most even odd song I could possibly write. Like even feel. Like you don't really at any point you're not like, what's happening here? It's not like Tool or like, or Perfect Circle or something. We're just like, whoa, this is like math rock.
Yeah.
So that song I wrote a while back. And the second one I played is I just wrote.
Oh, cool.
That one's called Hang the Moon, and that's just like, I don't know, just I made some like sexy mama up in my head that I don't deserve, and then like I was just like, oh, when she hangs the moon in the sense of like there's nothing she can't do, like she's just got this awe, where it's like, that's just, I was going for romantic, and in my head I felt like an Afro-Cuban like percussive kind of thing happening here. So when I was going to perform it, I tried to embellish like what the groove is, the chords and the bass. So it's kind of like busy guitar work, but if I was with a band, I think it'd be like, it could be a really like dope sound, dope production. So it's something I'm writing for my sophomore album.
Cool.
And I just figured I'd play it because it's like artist community. Like you guys have an imagination, So, and the last song Always is, I that came like riff first, because sometimes I seed songs differently. Like sometimes I'm just lyrics first, or just like guitar riff, or just beat or something. But that one was riff, and I had it for like a long time because I was just like tapping away, and I was like, okay, well, if I make this like a full blown love song, it's gonna be like too like gooey. And then if I make it something that isn't that, I feel like you won't really enjoy the earnestness of the guitar riff. And so I was sitting on it for a while, like I had no idea what to write. And then I was just thinking like nostalgia would be a great topic.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the premise of it, where it's like, no matter, no matter the seasons, it's like we never change. It's like I'll always be here. It's like, to be a rock in someone's life. And it's not necessarily about like a relationship, it's just me kind of reflecting on a moment. Like I went on a trip one time with my friends to Maine, and we'd like jumped off a 65-foot cliff into the water. It was just like the dumbest thing, so it's like those lyrics came from a real place, like those things happened. And yeah, I guess it's kind of that song. It's like I feel like it kind of speaks for itself. Like I wanted it really stripped down, because I think that doesn't happen. I think a lot of people, like, we go into cookie cutter mode really easily. And one thing that I love about the bands that I grew up listening to is that there's so many mistakes in their album that you and I would never consider mistakes.
Mhm.
We're just like, that's fucking cool. Like, who knows if they felt happy or sad about that? Maybe their producer was just like, no, leave it in. Or
Yeah.
But I wanted something stripped down that's just like me and a guitar. And I'd done that. And then after some time, I had worked in a band overseas, like an events band, and we were all acoustic, and one of the members played contrabass, like upright bass. And then I had him, like, we did like a tiny desk performance. I was trying to like submit it or something, and we tried doing it, and he played it on the upright, and I was like, this needs to be incorporated somehow into the recording. So I added that afterwards. So that wasn't like a part of the OG session.
Mhm.
It was something that came later, but it I think it adds, like, it's so subtle but so like deep,
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's tough to have like an idea in your head and an emotion in your head and just try to evoke it and present it in the best way possible, so people don't really have to struggle to understand what you meant.
Mhm.
That's always like the trick of the art,
Yeah.
Remembering old days out with close friends, reckless since we could get, jumped off the highest cliff, beach and campfires, Nintendo and VHS, laughs in the back seats, too easy to reminisce. No matter our age, I still feel the same. You and I'll be friends always. When we're apart, only seasons change. A crush from high school, the sweep of our first kiss, like two leaves in autumn wind, an echo from incubus. We grew up quickly, but we sure had fun. So I'm glad that we filled up with plenty of good love. No matter our age, I still feel the same. You and I'll be friends always. When we're apart, only seasons change. You and I'll be friends always. You and I'll be friends always. All the time flew by, I'll never understand. I guess life put some speed around the bends. If only good time would never end.
Slap Shack.
Nice.
Was it? Come on in the shack. We make some slaps. Come to the Slap Shack. We'll feature your music. Come on in the shack. We make some slaps. Get your slaps on the slap shouldn't today. Slap Shack.